Okay, so I found something wild this week at Microsoft Build 2026.
AI, machine learning, developer tools, and tech infrastructure. What did you find?
Steve Sanderson unveiled Vibe OS, the world's first hallucinated operating system.
That sounds like sci-fi. Is this actually running on a kernel, or is it all smoke and mirrors?
There is no underlying application code for the UI. It's dynamically generated by an AI model.
So when you click a button, the AI isn't triggering an event handler, it's rendering the button on the fly via the Copilot SDK and HTML.
Exactly. And he bootstrapped a lightweight virtual disk, launching Notepad and Calculator.
That's intentional slop, elevated by engineering expertise. He built this in 6 hours.
6 hours for a whole OS? That breaks my brain. How does it handle user input?
User interactions are handled via fine-grained diffs fed back to the model. It's reactive, not stateful in the traditional sense.
Wait, so the UI is essentially a chat window that looks like an OS?
Precisely. The AI renders the state based on the diff. It's a novel experiential software pattern.
Okay, that's the what. But how does it actually work under the hood?
It uses the Copilot SDK to generate HTML-based rendering. The app is just a prompt state machine.
So if I close the window, is the OS is gone? Or is there persistence?
The demo focused on the runtime experience. Persistence would require a backend, which wasn't the focus here.
Fair point. Now here's the part that broke my brain. Cassidy Williams' CSS database.
She built a mock SQL database entirely in CSS. No JavaScript logic for the queries.
That sounds impossible. CSS is for styling, not computation. How did she pull that off?
She used CSS selectors, variables, and sibling indices. It's a purposefully cursed but technically insightful hack.
So it's basically CSS abuse to the extreme. Did she write it all herself?
She wrote 20% of the code, steering the AI to correct layout and structural issues.
2 hours for a CSS database. This is vibe coding at its most absurd.
It pushes the boundaries of what AI-assisted authoring can mean for creative exploration.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Swix's AI bot for conference scheduling.
An AI event scheduler built on Cloudflare, managing multi-track sessions via chat and email.
Is this using a massive frontier model for the scheduling logic?
No. Swix used multiple small models. It was fully vibe-coded over a week and a half.
Small models for real-world workflows? That's a huge shift from relying on GPT-4 or similar.
It emphasizes rapid, autonomous development without the cost or latency of frontier models.
And finally, Simon Willison's dataset agent. What's the key takeaway there?
A Python plugin system leveraging locally or cloud-hosted LLMs to query datasets dynamically.
So we have hallucinated OSs, CSS databases, and small model schedulers. What does this mean?
It means the seam between prototype and production is blurring faster than we thought.
Mark and Scott called it AI-augmented software engineering. Is it just hype?
No. It's a new craft. The tooling is enabling experimentation at near zero cost.
Adrian from AMD mentioned democratization. Does this lower the barrier to entry?
It does, but it adds complexity. The number of models and configs is overwhelming.
So we're entering an era where anyone can build, but fewer know what to build.
Exactly. The value shifts from writing code to directing the AI's hallucination.
Sanderson's 6-hour OS is the proof. We're not just coding, we're curating.
And Cassidy's CSS hack proves that creativity still matters, even with AI assistance.
But it gets better. The community is already building on top of these vibes.
The vibe check format was playful, but the implications are serious for software craftsmanship.
So is this the future of development? Or just a cool party trick? I mean, a CSS database is definitely a party trick, but the underlying principle.
The principle is that the UI is just a state, and AI can render that state on demand.
And Swix's small model approach proves efficiency doesn't have to die for experimentation.
Correct. We're moving from deterministic code to probabilistic experiences.
That's a big shift, one where we need to be careful about slop versus solutions.
Mark and Scott highlighted that distinction. Not everything vibe-coded is production-ready.
Right, but the speed is undeniable. 6 hours for an OS? That's impossible to ignore.
It's undeniable, but it requires a new kind of engineering discipline to make it robust.
So the takeaway is, embrace the vibe, but verify the code.
Yes, use AI for the heavy lifting, but keep your eyes on the seams.
And that's the big picture. We're not replacing developers, we're supercharging them.
Exactly. The tools are here. The question is what you'll build with them.
All right, that's all we got this week. If this blew your mind, come back next time.
Original source is linked in the description. Subscribe to Locally Hosted for more deep dives.
We'll probably break it again. See you next time.